Woo, Sam, tell me this is that was like last night. We were just hanging out and he decided to dress up as Minnie Mouse in a pink wig. That is freaky, scary. Man, you just got a whistle, Sam. Somebody likes that. I don't know why. You know, kind of funny, we dedicate a holiday to something that we do all the time. That's like dressing up or pretending we're something we're not. And sometimes what we do is we wear these masks, right? We put them on. And the reason why we do this sometimes is to cover up something. Maybe it's to cover up who we are or what we're experiencing in life. And it's things that, you know, for whatever reason, maybe we don't want other people to know who we are or what we're experiencing. You know, sometimes it's because we don't want to face that reality. And so we put stuff on. We wear masks to cover up who we are and what we're going through. And sometimes we cover up things like hurt or pain in our life. And that drives us to put masks on. There's those who have experienced hurt and pain in life, and those who will experience hurt and pain in life. It's inevitable. God even tells us life is going to be difficult. Life is going to be hard. This is something that you're going to face. Matter of fact, statistically speaking, 1 out of every 3 people right now are experiencing a time of hurt and pain in their life. Look to the person to your left, and look to the person to your right. One of you 3 there is probably going through a season of hurt or pain right now. And so oftentimes what we'll do is we'll put a mask on to cover that up. You know, sometimes it's because we've screwed up. You know, we've done something stupid. You know, maybe we've been caught in sin or whatever it is, but we've screwed up and we don't want either people to recognize that or know that we've done that in life, or sometimes we just don't want to deal with it ourselves. Or sometimes we don't want to confront God and have Him deal with those things that we've screwed up in life. So we put a mask on and we cover those things up. You know, sometimes it's just insecurity. You know, we don't measure up to somebody else or something else or some idea that people think it should be what we are. And because we don't measure up, we wear a mask. We put stuff on to cover those flaws or those things that create insecurity in our life. So where do we get these masks at? I got this at the Halloween store, that little one that closed down just the other day. But the ones in life, man, sometimes I create my own mask. I mean, nobody really knows more than I do about who I am or what I'm experiencing. And so sometimes I recognize that in my life and I say, man, I don't want that to be public, or I don't want to have to deal with that, or I don't want people to maybe judge me for what I'm going through. And so I kind of figure out, how can I avoid that? So I figure something out to put over that, and I mask that in my life. You know, sometimes people make masks for us. I've seen that a lot. I've experienced that. Where they start kind of speaking into your life about what kind of person you are or who you should be. And eventually you start hearing that so much that you begin to identify with that. And you begin to wear that mask as your identity when really it may not be. And so we do that. What kind of masks are these things? Man, there's so many masks that we wear. Sometimes it's the tough guy mask, right? Sometimes it's the, you know, I can handle this. I got this. You know, it's all good. I'm good. I'm fine. My wife and I, there's a movie. I think it's Italian Job, and there's a quote in it. This girl's like, "I'm fine. I'm fine." And so the FINE was an acronym for freaked out, insecure, emotional, and neurotic and emotional, right? Sometimes we just go through life and maybe the truth is things aren't fine all the time. But we don't want people to, to start butting into our life and start finding those things out. Or sometimes we just don't want to deal with what's going on. And so we wear this mask of, I've got this. I can handle it. Sometimes it's the funny mask, right? Like I'm going to be the funny guy in this. By the way, I'm not saying that these guys, I know he is tough and he is funny. I'm not saying that these are your masks. Sorry, it just happened that way. You guys are like, man, I'm putting the mask back on. Give it to me. Sometimes it's a funny mask, man. Sometimes you've been the butt of a joke for so long that the only way that you feel like you can cope with this thing is to make people laugh. As long as you're doing something to get that laugh, at least they're not just laughing at who you are. And so you start masquerading around as the funny guy. And as long as I can get a laugh from somebody, at least they're recognizing something about me. So we wear this mask, this trying to be the funny person. Sometimes it's relationships. Sometimes there's insecurities that creep up in our life, and we don't necessarily see the value in ourselves, and so we need somebody around us who will at least somehow show us that we have value in life, and so we start to engage in relationships. Sometimes it's friendships, sometimes it's dating relationships or whatever, and we're searching for this void in our life that shows us that we don't measure up, and so we seek for somebody to fill that in our life. And so we as long as we're in a relationship, I don't have to deal with the fact that I'm lonely, or I don't have to deal with the fact that I've got struggles in life, but as long as I can mask that with this relationship, I'll be okay. Sometimes it's the woe is me mask, right? Let me say it a different way. Well, got a cotton in there. It's all good. It's all good. The woe is me mask. Sometimes it's we want people to recognize that our problems are worse than everybody else's problems in life. And so we want to talk about that. We want to make sure that we get attention or something's happening in our life that maybe we don't want to deal with. And so we put this mask on so people will recognize that we need something. And so we draw attention in ways that are like that. Sometimes it's the religious mask. And let me, because I know your minds are already turning here. The religious mask works both ways. I think the one you're thinking of, maybe, is the one that says, I've got it all together with God, right? That's everything's good. My relationship with God's okay. I'm going through life and everything's good. I don't have real problems. I sing in worship. I read my Bible. All these things happen. Yeah, that's true. That happens. The one that's scary, more scary to me than that is the opposite of that. It's when you encounter God and something real happened in your life. And you want to talk about it. Like it's something for the first time maybe in your life, man, you were on your face because your encounter with God was that incredible. And then you start getting around other people who maybe didn't have that experience. And you start thinking, man, if I start talking about this thing, what are people going to think about me? So you mask something that's positive in your life. Something that was real in your life, you cover that up. And you don't talk about it, you hide it. How do I know this? One, I do it. I wear masks. All the time I do. I'm constantly struggling with my personal value in life. I'm constantly struggling with how I measure up in life. The other reason why I know this? I can't tell you how many times, even multiple times this year, where students have walked into chapel and something happened in chapel where they are on their face weeping. Have you guys been there? I think most of you have, because at the beginning of the year that happened. Right? You're just on your face because for once you encountered God and something real took place. But before chapel started, you walked in like nothing was wrong. And I've done that. Where it wasn't until God started to pull that mask away and started to work on the real issues in my heart that I was finally open to what was really happening. We do this all the time. So what's the big deal? Who cares? I mean, like, so I wear a mask, so some people don't know who I really am. You know, the hard part about wearing a mask is one of the things that I've begun figuring out is the longer you wear it, the harder it is to take off. The more people recognize you as this particular identity, the harder it is for you to be who you really are and to be honest and transparent and genuine with people. The other scary thing is we wear it so long we actually begin to believe it. And so you can go through your entire life unfulfilled because you're not who you really are. At the beginning of this year, we started this year out by talking about this Philippians 2 passage, this challenge to shine like stars, to hold God's truth out and to be able to be used by God. You know, Paul starts that letter out to Philippians in chapter 1, verse 6. He talks about God completing the work. God began a work in you, and He's going to complete it. Why don't we see that happen? Why don't we see God's work? Why aren't we just progressively moving towards God? Why is our faith so often like a roller coaster where we have these moments of like incredible highs of knowing who God is and experiencing Him? And then we have these valleys of like, man, I don't have anything to do with God. You know, I think one of the main reasons that happens is because we start to wear masks. We start to hide things that God wants to work in us. And so wearing a mask, I think the biggest thing we need to wrestle with right now is wearing a mask prevents God from working in us. He's promised us. He who began a good work in you is going to see that to completion. But every time you put a mask on, it's like throwing a delay in that construction process. It's like putting God on hold. Does He stop working in your life? No. It changes though. He's got to pull that mask down in order to work in your life. He's got to start working on the things, the facade of what you put around you so He can start working on the real heart of the issue. So what's that process look like? What's the process of God working in our life look like? Let's take a look.